Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Another episode is upon us, and I don't think I did this last time when we did an introduction to the episode. I don't think I told a dad joke.
No, you gave us all a break. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, I started thinking about it, and I started wondering, what is the difference between a dad joke and a bad joke? And I had to look this up. I did some research. I did research, okay?
Okay.
A dad joke is a clean, wholesome, and intentionally corny joke based on an obvious pun or play on words. Okay? A bad joke is simply unfunny, poorly structured, offensive, or confusing.
Okay.
While a dad joke makes you groan with affection, a bad joke just makes you cringe.
Okay.
And all this time, I thought the difference between a bad joke and a dad joke was the letter B and D. Did you just cringe?
That was not very good.
Oh,
that was
okay.
not very good.
I cringed too.
Our episode's good though.
Yeah.
Can we just move to that?
Yeah. Maybe I need to go to school to learn how to tell better jokes.
Oh, I see what you did there. We are joined by Kelsey Biscardi Thomas, librarian at Star Elementary School. Also, Kelsey is the Star Backpack Brigade founding member, and we're going to talk more about that so you'll know what that's all about. She's also a parent of two boys in elementary school. She's a youth soccer and baseball coach and a local community volunteer. So many things that we could go on and on about that you do. We are just so thrilled to have you on our podcast today. So welcome, Kelsey.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Welcome, I guess. I feel welcomed.
There we go. There we go.
After all that stuff that Michelle just listed off, I have a quick question. When do you sleep?
For the last 2 weeks getting ready for school, sleep has been very, very minimal for me. But besides that, I try to manage it pretty well, but it can be challenging at times. ADHD though, so.
Oh, okay. So, when we talked about this episode, we're talking about getting ready for school, but then also you have this really cool program. I was doing a little research before you came on, and it's been going on for 3 years. Is that right? So we have the Star Backpack Brigade. And I want to start, if it's okay, if we can start there. I just really want to hear how it came about. So just tell us all the things.
Yeah, so it's okay to start with that because it's something I am so beyond proud of. And it kind of was one of those things that happened with all the stars aligning. So about 3 years ago, just on my own, I had been thinking of a project that I would have liked to do regarding helping kids prepare for school and having the supplies they needed. And it was one of those things, again, as I said earlier, I have ADHD. So I am constantly thinking up a million different things that I would love to do and how could we do it and all that. But at the same time, having to kind of pin it and be like, maybe it'll come up again later. Who knows? Especially because, as you're saying, how do I have time? And sometimes I don't know how I have time to do anything else. So, but about 3 weeks before the school year was starting 3 years ago, somebody on Facebook had posted that our local food bank was no longer able to do their backpack program. And then, someone commented, well, what can we do? Can we help? And I immediately said, oh my gosh, I would love to do something. And from there, it kind of all worked out. Julie, who works for Star Spirit magazine here, she kind of reached out and she said, okay, let's do this. Then Mary, who works at the Star Branch Library for Ada Community Libraries, she said the library would love to help. And then from there, we just kind of got a few volunteers together, and within 3 weeks, we were able to put together our first backpack drive. So we ended up getting 300 backpacks, and 150 people took those backpacks. And that's not to say though that those 300 backpacks were still used. We ended up finding other programs that we could donate the backpacks to and supplies to as well. So in a lot of ways, we still say we gave away 300 backpacks, just not at our drive. Since then, we kind of got a core group together, and we became the Star Backpack Brigade. And so it's about 10 of us in the community who get together, and we have meetings about monthly and just figure out every year how we can make the process better and better. We have the goal of there's no really restrictions. So we don't ask anybody how much money they're making. If you need to be there, if you need that help, you are welcome to come. And we say it's for the Star community, but it truly is anybody who can get there and needs it. So this past year was our 3rd year, and we ended up giving 355 backpacks away this year. And we had people coming from Homedale, we had people coming from Middleton, we had people coming from Nampa, because of certain programs that are or are not being offered there. They might not be able to qualify for them, but we say as long as we have the supplies and as long as you've registered for a spot, we have a backpack for you. And that's also kind of how it works, is you register for your backpack spot, and we can guarantee you'll get a free backpack. And then the supplies, because it's so donation based, are as they last. But we like to say we can't guarantee you'll get all your supplies, but you'll get most of your supplies.
Okay. Aside from the fact that I keep hearing Dora the Explorer in the back of my head going, backpack, backpack.
Of course, of course.
Of course, we had young kids at one time watching that.
Yes.
We're also wondering what kind of supplies are actually in the backpack.
Are you following the list of what the classroom needs?
Yes. So we get in touch with usually our school, but West Ada uses the same for everybody across, and we use that. And then our main focus is elementary school age, but as we've gone, we've been able to get some supplies for middle school and high school. So those ones go a little bit quicker.
So I was looking, you had a flyer, and you just did the supply, the drive on August 1st, but so it was hosted by the Star Branch Library, Star Spirit Magazine, Pac West, Koala Installation, Lions Club, Star Community Volunteers. Are these part of the 10 that you were talking about, or have you included more?
Yes, so those are like the 10 major sponsors, and those are mostly the people in our so that's Star Spirit is Julie, Pac West is Wayne and David. I think Koala Installation, that's Mel on our team. Masumi Purdy, she, as well as their sworn loyalties, her name is Julianne. And they're almost all of them, they're people in our community or their past parents whose children have gone to Star Elementary or the new school that just opened up. And yeah, they're just people who are very much active in the community. And what's amazing about our sponsors too is as we get closer to the backpack drive happening, we go and we look and we go, oh my gosh, we're really low on watercolors. And they go, no problem. And we usually Amazon, because they do bulk, a bunch of watercolors. And so even though the community helps us provide a lot, the sponsors are also making sure we're covering to have enough supplies on hand.
That is amazing. And that was just started by just, an idea and look how far it's gone. So what are you hoping for year 4?
So year 4, I think we're planning on upping it to 400, just by how much, response we saw. And we're hoping that just continues. Truly, like I said, it's one of the things I'm most proud of doing in my whole life, really, is because you meet these, we make it so much of an experience for the kids that we hope that they don't see it any other way. as just doing normal school shopping, but the parents every year tell us, thank you. And you meet so many people and their stories of, I was anxious because I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Um, you know, they didn't know how they were going to get the supplies this year. And then they found out about us and they're like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Or I just lost my job, or, all the different things. And so the fact that we're helping people and taking a stigma away from it is really, really, yeah, heartwarming to me. So,
Heartwarming. So, for someone who's listening who maybe is not in this area, but is listening, going, oh, there's a need here. Would you have some advice for them on how to get one started for in their community?
absolutely. I mean, easier than you would have thought, truly, because it started with a Facebook post. And then how we get most of our donations is through Amazon. So we made an Amazon wish list and put all the supplies on there. And then we put a link out to community. And then as we've done this, we started reaching out to local businesses, and they will hold fundraisers as well. And people come and they can do donations at the fundraising locations. And then how I ended up doing the signing up is using, oh my God, Eventbrite. And Eventbrite allows you to do free events. And so as I say that, it was that easy. So as long as you know how to use Eventbrite, maybe Sign Up Genius, and Amazon wish lists, and you can find a company or a area that is interested in hosting it for you, you can do it.
Eventbrite, is that when you said about the tickets to have a
Yeah.
ticket? So that's what, so that way then how many people are coming to make sure you have enough backpacks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the other things you're involved with, of course, is the library, being the librarian there at Star Elementary.
We love
Uh,
our books.
yes, we do. So I'm sure you have some sage advice to pass out to parents this time of year, right?
Oh, yes. I hope I do at least.
Well, not just as a librarian, but
Yeah,
also as a parent.
yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what would you say to parents who are either in the midst of the first week of school or getting ready to go back to school?
Um, I would say truly, I mean, first of all, you got this. You're doing great. Um, but the key truly is just beginning a routine as soon as you can. Um, the first day of school, the first week of school, it's going to be for some kids the most exciting thing ever, and for some kids the most nerve-wracking thing ever, or a mixture of both. And so the more you can start to prepare them for what's happening ahead of time, the better and more successful their first day is going to be. But not only their first day, their whole school year is going to be, truly. And just getting them excited for all the new possibilities that are going to happen, as well as um, making reassuring them and validating their feelings. That's a big one as well. I tend to feel like the reason, I mean, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like I connect very well with my students because as a librarian, we do see the whole school. Um, I'm very real with my kids. If a kid tells me I don't like this, that sucks, instead of trying, so, depending on the scenario, but instead of being like, oh, it doesn't suck, da da da, sometimes I'll look at them and be like, yep, that sucks. And they're like, wait, I'm allowed to have this feeling? You're not going to try to tell me otherwise? And so, validating your kids, but also giving them things to look forward to and starting a routine. And if you can do that, you'll do well.
Do you have any personal tricks for helping kids learn the joy of reading as a librarian?
Ooh, it's funny you say this because my oldest son is an avid reader. And my youngest son will tell you that his biggest fear is reading in books.
Mhm.
So while I do have advice, at the same time, I also am struggling with this at home. And the biggest thing is don't force it. That's a huge thing. Let your kids be interested in what they're interested in. Um, find books that might pique their interest, but never force the reading. And I found that as a big thing even as a librarian. This past school year was the past school year was my first year as a school librarian. And I was able to triple our circulation in books. I had a lot of students tell me that this was their first year checking out a book. And it was, and by the way, because our past librarian was an amazing human, and the kids still ask about her. So this is not saying anything about her. Because I want to make that very clear. She's a friend of mine. She's the reason I have this job. And so I want that put out there. But I didn't, when they came into library, I talked about books. Like we do something called book talk in my library. I put a lineup of 6 books of various reading, various, nonfiction and poems and stuff. And then I give them a quick synopsis of what each book is. And I really talk those books up. However, at the same time, you come in and I say, you don't have to check out a book. This is not something you are required to do in library. I just want you to be here and enjoy being in library. And it turns out if you create a space they enjoy being in, they start to explore everything else in that space. And another thing is I'm not going to tell you what you can and cannot read, which means if a 5th grader comes and they want to check out a picture book in library, you can check out a picture book if that makes you happy. And I talk about picture books, and it actually warmed my heart right now, because as we're going through the second year of library and I'm seeing returning students and I'm saying certain phrases and hearing them repeat it back to me and going, okay, did stick. A big thing I say is picture books are for everyone. And it's called the everyone section in our library. So the fact is the book, it's for everyone, but vice versa. Sometimes I have kindergartners who come up and they bring me the biggest chapter book possible. And I will with them, I go, are you sure this is the book you want? And if they look at me and they go, yes, Miss Kelsey, and they've got big hard eyes, I go, okay, take the book home. And now in that case for parents, I have a little note that goes in and goes, yes, I know your kindergartner does not know how to read this book. However, here are some things you can do. Ask them, why did they pick this book? Ask them what is, interesting. Maybe explain things about the book to them. So we're still having a conversation, but we're not making it taboo or boring, or I want you still to be excited about the book itself. Same with when someone loses a book. I go, that makes me sad, but you're good, because I'd rather lose a book than a reader.
The environment that you're creating is amazing. And I'm just thinking of, we're a home of readers. And we had one son who, do you remember this? Ethan did not want to read. He didn't like to read. And so we were told the same thing, to find something he was interested in and not to put pressure on him. And I think in the beginning it was Star Wars, and maybe a lot of pictures in it, but then he eventually started to love it, but it was taking that pressure off of him. And I'm thinking about Ken and I. Sorry.
I'm afraid to ask.
I never know, because we have a reading habit. It's a good habit to have. And I'll be reading my book and I'll go to turn and say, what you reading? And I never know if it's a book, if it's a comic, if it's, what else do you read?
Magazines.
Graphic novel. Sometimes it's Daffy Duck. Sometimes it's, and I just love it. I just love it because it, no matter what it is, like you were saying, it's for everyone.
Yeah. All reading is good reading.
Yeah.
And that is
absolutely.
it.
And the books that maybe the kindergartners get that are too big a chapter book, maybe the parents could actually read some of that book to them.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, actually, I've had a few incidences where the student comes up to me and they go, "Mom and Dad are reading it." I had another instance, and this is not something again, when kids come up, I usually or be like, "That's fine, no worries." I had a second grader who came up to us and brought the Diary of Anne Frank up, and I did have a moment of pause because that's a very serious subject, and they are 7 years old. And I thought to myself, "Oh, I don't know." And I'm kind of like trying to be like, "Are you sure?" And she so innocently goes, "But it's a book about a girl." And I go, "Yes, you're right. It is a book about a girl. But there's some sad things that happen in this book and some not so good things." She just looks at me and she so earnestly goes, "But Miss Kelsey, if there's anything bad in this book, I promise I will not do it." And I go, "Great. Also, not what I was worried about." And I said, "Give me a moment." Their parent worked at the school, and I went and I talked to their parent, and they said yes. And for that whole school year, she had the book checked out, and her parent were reading that book together. And turned into kind of a thing of other kids being like, "Well, I want it. I want that book next," and all of it. But I love that they were reading the book together. And like you said, and that creates moments. And studies show that even if your child is not reading, you should still be reading to your child. And like studies prove that even into high school, you should still sit down and read to your child. Even if it's a picture book, even if it's the newspaper, even if it's an audio book, but doing it together helps a lot.
TikTok memes?
Yeah. I mean, probably.
Oh,
Wait,
goodness.
let me just point out very quickly. It was Donald Duck, not Daffy Duck.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry. Sometimes it's Tarzan. You just never know with this guy. I'm curious, as a mom yourself, how any advice you would give. You told him to like you got this, but like let's say that your kid is going to a different grade, or maybe it's kindergarten, or all of the different transitions that happen. And maybe they're worried about their little one, or are they going to make friends, or who's going to sit with them at lunch, those kinds of things. Any offers or ideas, or is there any resources?
Uh, you know, this is such a common worry as parents. And again, kind of the flip of what I was saying, where I have one kid who loves to read and one who is fearful. I have one kid who is so content with just being by himself and having his one friend versus my other child who is literally best friends with every human he meets. And so, when I sit down at teacher meetings and they go, "Well, what is your concern for my oldest?" I'm never worried about him academically. I'm always like, "But is he talking to other people? Is he making friends?" Um, and then versus my youngest, who I'm like, "Okay, we got to work on our reading." Uh, um, but my advice to you is one, truly knowing your child and their personality. Um, but they're going to find someone. They are. Maybe it might not be the same person every year for various reasons. They will find someone, and sometimes they truly are. I had a student a few years ago because I also was a yard duty before I became the librarian. And there was one student who walked the track every single day by themselves. And of course, you're going, "Oh no, da da da." And I eventually went and talked to them, and they're like, "This is my happy place. I am so happy doing just this." So if you have a child who is more introverted, no, they're okay. They're happy. They're fine. If you have a kid who maybe is a little more anxious, they will find someone eventually. But yes, have them go talk to an adult, have them express that to a teacher, because usually they can go and find you a solution. A big thing that I loved, it's a love-hate relationship, but as a yard duty, is we got a gaga ball pit. And I call it the Thunderdome. So again, as a yard duty, don't necessarily love it in that aspect, but also as a yard duty, as a teacher, what I loved is everybody gets to play. You can't disclude children from it. So I'd always go, if you can't find someone to play around right now, go play Gaga Ball. And then they'd be like, okay. And then they're over there and then they're making friendships and so that's something that I think schools probably just in general should have something that is an all inclusive play that you can't disclude people. Is disclude a word?
It is now.
Yeah.
What is Gaga Ball?
You don't know?
E-
I don't know either.
Really hoping you would explain better than I do. It's so you have a little like gate that's in an enclosure, and you have a ball, and they hit that ball around, kind of like Foursquare, but I truly actually don't know all the rules. I am getting training on all the rules because we're bringing it back, and that is my duty during recess again to watch. But I definitely don't know the rules. Besides that, they're in an enclosure with a ball. Hence the Thunderdome aspect of it. Yeah, yes, kids get competitive, but again, everybody could play. So the aspect of everybody can play is nice about that, and creating that safe space I think is important, with the asterisks of also, and again, this is seeing it as when I was a yard duty, but even now as a librarian, is that kids are also allowed to have spaces where they don't have to include everybody. And so keeping that in mind, because I would have kids sometimes be like, can you make this person be my friend? I can't. Yeah. That is their right to also say no. But let's go find somebody who will be inclusive.
Well, and that just brings up like one of the most important things about school is learning those social rules and knowing, I mean, to have everyone be your friend is not realistic.
Yes.
To be able to accept that not everyone's going to like you and that sometimes you need alone space, like all of it is just teaching, to trust yourself and like what you need, but also, friendships are complicated and social norms and being able to read people and all that and figure out what you want, it's complicated. So it's huge part, I think, of school.
Almost as complicated as Lady Gaga Ball, or just Gaga Ball. I'm sorry.
How long were you holding on to that one? How long were you waiting to say that joke? This is what I have to go through, Kelsey. Kelsey.
I like it was good. It was clever.
But you don't encourage him.
You're correct, though, is that these are social, societal norms that kids need to learn. And the sooner you start implementing those at home as a parent, but also like as teachers' jobs as well, the better they're going to do in middle school and high school, that's when it actually really gets tough. And if you can learn those skills at a younger age, high school and middle school are going to be a lot easier for you, because you're not going to worry about those things and worry about the pressures that other kids might put on you. So yeah, the sooner you can establish that. And same, coming into, we have kindergartners, coming into school and starting. And yes, yesterday was our first official day. Today was the second day. And on the first official day, the kindergarten teachers come and they get the kids and they show them where to go. Day 2, they go around the back and they do it all on their own. And I remember my first, year as a parent and doing that and being like, but how are they going to know? How? That is asking a lot of my 5-year-old. And then now working at the school, they figure it out. They become way quicker and more independent than you are going to give them credit for as a parent, because you just want them to still be your baby. Your kid will figure it out. They've got this. I promise.
Well, and you just circled it right back to one of the first things you said to the parents. You got this. And I think that's a really great place to end our discussion, that parents, you've got this, and your kids, they've got this. And that together with your team in the school and your family, you can support support the kid and all that, but recognizing that you as librarian, you got this, teacher, you got this. Like everybody has a role to play, and yeah, one day at a time, right?
Truly. And just, know that your teachers are there to support your kid. They have your kid in mind. And don't be afraid to have a nice, please be nice to them, but conversation with them. And if, as long as you are being respectful and having a great conversation with them, your kids are going to do fine. And like you said, you got this. Everything will be great. They will help your kid out and vice versa and all the things.
And all the things, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all that you do. And I'm excited for next year's, the backpack drive, and I'm curious to see if other backpack drives happen in other parts of the state of Idaho. So if anyone wants to reach out, can they reach out to you, or what would you prefer?
Yes, I mean, you could always reach out to me. I'm all for, you can reach me on social media at Kelsey Biscardi, but also we do have a Facebook page called the Star Backpack Brigade, and you can reach out to us there as well.
I think that's probably the best place, just because everything, is you're working on and whatnot. But yeah, so Facebook,
Star Backpack Brigade.
Star Backpack Brigade.
Yeah.
I don't know where
Backpack.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, well that song's gonna be stuck in my head. All right, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll talk to you at some other time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Okay,
Kelsey.
take care.
This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.